Yeah, what it do, guys, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to be taking a closer look at Caliban, because within the Isle Weaver update that just happened today, he has now got a brand new augment, and when I tell you this augment alone in itself has cooked, they have cooked with this augment. So augment again should have been up on screen there. Let's go ahead and just dive straight into the build and talk about everything that you need to go know and what is going on. All right, so builds up on the screen here. This is going to be centered around his brand new augment, which is going to be called Razor Motor. So we're going to go and start off with that, and then we're going to go in towards everything else as well. So Razor Motor basically just states that when you go and use your first ability, it now groups enemies together. But if you have Lethal Progenies Orphaless active at the same time, they will now surround the enemy, and then they will go and focus fire on those enemies, get an increased fire rate, and also dealing electric damage to them. So just to go ahead and keep this in mind, your first ability, if you didn't like it in the past, you should really reconsider right now. Your first ability is going to go ahead and give you health, it's going to go and give you shields, it's going to go ahead and give you energy, and it's going to be able to go and group enemies and then surround them with your Orphaless. That's a lot for one ability, so it's in a really good spot right now. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like a little bit later. Now, as for my overall ability stats on the left hand side, due to what's going on here, I wanted to go ahead and bump things off with range. Why range? Because I wanted to go ahead and group and affect as many enemies as possible with Razor Jaya. All right, that is going to be the main thing that you're spamming a lot. Everything centered around your first right now. Okay, spin to win Caliban. Okay, from there onwards, it's going to be a mixture of two different things, and I don't really mind which one you want to go and do here: strength and duration. So to put it simply, strength is going to go ahead and help you with the overall damage of different things that you're going to be doing in here. So go to bump your strength up, you just go and get more overall damage returns, especially on the Lethal Progeny, where the damage multiplier is right there, a 5.3 times, and that doesn't include my Arcanes, which we get to a little bit later. So that's going to be strength. Overall, just damage. Lovely stuff. And then we got the duration. And the duration is just the quality of life. You won't have to recast your buffs as much. You won't have to recast your summonings as much and so forth, all right? So duration is going to be good quality of life. If you don't want to recast as often, bump that up. Want more damage? Bump that up. Okay, now my efficiency is nice and low, and the reason for that is because I already explained at the beginning, Razor Jaya, as long as I'm hitting enemies, is giving me energy back. All right, so this is absolutely fantastic. Let me go and move my camera a little bit over here so you guys can go ahead, and I'll go and zoom in on that one as well for you guys if you need me to. But yeah, no, it's giving you an awful lot of things, so being able to refund your energy is really good. Now, why is that also good? Okay, so there's two things to go ahead and talk about here really quickly, and I'm going to talk about how it affects two completely different sources. Enter the subsumable of choice, Grendel's Nourish. Yes, I know we're sick to death of Grendel's Nourish being dominant on every single build, but let me go and talk about why it's so good here. Not only does Razor Jaya give you energy, but Nourish means any energy that you go ahead and get, it gets multiplied. So in this case, that is a 2.28 times multiplier. That's not my final overall multiplier. This basically just means as I'm collecting that 25%, it's a 2.225 higher. I'm getting so much energy back. I have zero energy problems, and I mean zero energy problems. All right, zero. Oh my god, it's so easy. Just look for big packs, press 1 into them, and boom, you'll see what I mean when you go ahead and use it. All right, so Nourish is going to help the energy side of things, the energy multiplier, but what Nourish is also going to go and do is you can go and give Nourish over towards your sentient companions. So in this case here, when I'm using the Orphaless, which again I'll show you in a bit, when I'm using the Orphaless, they're now also going to do viral damage on top of what they're already doing in the first place. So, you know, it's one thing they're already doing Tau and Electric, they're now doing Tau, Electric, and Viral. So they got that viral damage amplification to ramp up that electric damage that you're doing as well. So all of that comes together quite nicely. You can see how Nourish is really good for the utility side, but again, for the offensive side, just absolute classic Nourish right now. And then we obviously have the fusion strike at the end. This is going to be used for just armor stripping. You could have kept the second in here if you wanted to, but I honestly feel like the armor stripping could be a little bit better for longevity's sake of a mission, whereas the damage vulnerability from his second isn't as much scaling. I don't think it is in comparison to just the full depletion of armor, do you know what I mean? And what's really cool about this fusion strike in general is that it also leaves an AoE zone, so you can then spin, collect all enemies outside the zone, and bring them back into zone, dump them in there, and then let the Orphalus go kill them, and then you go back out again, and then collect more and dump them back in the zone again. So they're completely armor stripped, and there's nothing they can do about it. It's glorious. It's glorious. So as for my efficiency, I'm going to be using the Prime Flow, and I've also got the Archon Stretch in here. Now, as I did go to mention, we are going to be using lots and lots of range in here. So range is going to be overextended with the 90% ability range, but it does going to have my ability strength. I'm okay because I can kind of basically get that removed. So it's actually just giving me 90% ability strength. It's because of my Arcane, it will cancel the negative of this out. But then what we're going to do is, remember, abilities that deal electric damage is actually interesting because this does electric damage now. So I'm also getting a little bit of extra energy back just by them shooting. So God forbid if you happen to have energy issues, you're still going to go and get a little bit of passive energy back on the active return of Razor Motor, if that makes sense. As long as they're shooting and hitting things, then you know, you're basically going to be fine with some energy return. From there onwards, I've got the Prime Continuity, just a little bit of duration. The Blind Rage, the highest strength return inside the game, but it does go and help the ability efficiency. Again, doesn't really hurt mine though. I'm fine. I've got the Stretch, I've got the Nourish, I've got the Razor Gyre. I've got Intensify in here. Now, if you do have the capacity room, I'd probably put Umbra Intensify in there because it'll give you an extra 14% more. So it'd actually be 228% strength, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. I'm going to pop this in for now. If you did want to, you could also go and do Transient Fortitude. You can always go ahead and chuck that in, but it will go and hurt your duration a little bit. I wouldn't hurt your duration too much because it is still pretty good. It's going to have more increased duration. I think my duration on my build is 191% because again, we're going to go over Arcanes just in a second. Now, I do have Rolling Guard as a backup, and I mean purely as a backup because keep in mind, I don't need to go and use things like Brief Respite. I don't need to go and use Augur mods like Augur Reach or Augur Secrets or whatever. I don't need to use those because I don't need energy. Sorry, I don't need typically shields coming back. So long, my main concept is spinning and winning, and so long as I'm doing this, as long as I'm hitting enemies with it, I'm getting shields, I'm getting health, I'm getting energy, I'm grouping, I'm nuking. You know, everything is in this. So this is going to be good. Now, on that bad situation where they did go ahead and take all my shields out and whatnot, and I'm like, oh, ugh, okay, this isn't too good, or Violence Acolyte spawns, and I'm like, oh god, now my kit's kind of countered, I need to go and move away. Rolling Guard is a good safe thing to go and have in the background, or if there was a toxin proc on you or something else like that, you know, you can go ahead and remove it safely with the Rolling Guards. Not a necessity, just a luxury as a background kind of survival tool. Same kind of goes with the Prime Sure-Footed here. I tried it a little bit without it. I won't lie to you. I only did one mission. I kind of did it off stream, and I tried it one mission without it, and I didn't really notice that I needed it that much. But then I did get knocked down at one point, and I didn't like being knocked down because I was like, uh-oh, my whole concept is to keep me moving constantly with Razor Gyre. So I won't lie to you, I'm 50-50 on it. I'm more like 75-25. I'd rather have it than not have it. So if you don't have this, you can always go to do things like the Sure-Footed, which is a 60%. It's not 100%, it's 60. That's okay though. If not, you can go and do the Power Drift as well, which is 30% chance to go and get knocked down, but you do get 15% ability strength, which is kind of nice to go and chuck in there. It's going to get even more overall strength towards your build. So you can go ahead and do that. If you really want to, you can also go and consider things like Preparation to go and give you a good start if you're going to do like exterminate missions or capture missions or rescue missions where you're looking in to kill a couple of enemies but then kind of move and get out. So you can go ahead and synergize that with the Prime Fly, but that's up to you. Okay, now what I do go ahead and have in here is the Summoner's Wrath, and for those who don't know, Summoner's Wrath basically states that the squad receives 75% companion and summon damage. Now, for those of you who don't know, this actually acts like a faction mod. Okay, what does that mean? Faction mods are basically multiplicative. What they go ahead and do is they basically multiply to other damage sources. In this case, they multiply to just damage in general, right? Or elemental or whatever else it may be. But what's also interesting is that because this acts like a faction mod, it means it really acts like a faction mod, as in it double dips. So for those who don't also know, it's very similar to things like Rhino's Roar. It's very similar to just Bane mods in general. This basically means if you have a dot on your build, which is exactly what this is doing, not only is it multiplying to the on hit, it's also multiplying to the dot as well. Therefore, we effectively get the double dip from Summoner's Wrath. Just an overall really, really good companion mod, all right? So if you did go ahead and run Rhino's Roar with this build, it'd be like why Summoner's Wrath is kind of doing what you're essentially wanting Rhino's Roar for. So just go ahead and chuck that in, all right? Which is why the Nourish is really, really good here. You've got nearly best of both worlds, technically, all right? So that's going to be really nice. So that's going to be like the overall mods that I've gone for there. Hopefully that was as explanatory as it can be. Let's go and talk about the Arcanes really quickly. Now, as for the Arcanes of choice, I've gone for just overall kind of scaling Arcanes, since I'm going to be using this in areas where I'm looking to go ahead and just fight a little bit longer because it's more enjoyable. So things like Molt Efficiency, which while shields are active, you gain 6% ability duration per second, up to a maximum of 36%. Now this is really, really good because again, with Razor Gyre, I'm always going to be getting lots of shields back, lots of energy back, lots of health back, so forth, so forth, so forth. So therefore, whilst my shields are active, I'm also getting, again, ability duration. I add that 36% onto the 155 right there, and bada bing. That's even more overall timers I've got for both of these, so I don't have to, and this as well on the ground, so I don't have to recast it as often, which is just really nice to allow me to go and spin and win, spin and win. Now, as for the, this is going to work in basically all missions that you go and do anyway, so this is nice. But as for this one, this is going to be more, so this is more augmented. It basically states that ability strength, it gives you 0.24% ability strength. It stacks up to 250 times. It will yield you at 250 stacked. It'll give you 60% ability strength. But this one here is more situated for if you're going to stay in the mission longer, endurance runs. Maybe you want to go and do some interceptions. You're doing some whatevers. Why are you doing interceptions? You're doing survivals or whatever, alchemy. You're going to stay in the mission a little bit longer, and you want to go ahead and get more strength into the build. This will essentially cancel out that minus 60% there. So you basically get a free 90% range without really technically hurting any strength whatsoever. It just kind of cancels it out, which is just really, really nice. If you are going into, or if you are looking for another Arcane, I'm sure some people might be saying, why not Kamisado? Now, really quickly, two things about this. Kamisado does two different things. It basically says, attacks summoned from minions increase ability strength by 6% up to 60%. Okay, so it's going to have to build up to 60%, but it's only on your next ability cast. Keep that in mind. See, Mole is going to be on all my abilities. This is only going to be on the next ability, 60% on the next one. I'd rather have Mole on all of them. Does that make sense? But furthermore, it also says summoners gain 20% movement speed. Here's the kicker here, chat. Here's the kicker. I don't need them to move if they move with the Augment. You'll see in a moment when I go and do the demonstration, you don't actually need any movement speed on them. Now, if you do want to go and use the other ones in the meantime, maybe you want to go and use the Conculus or the Summerless or whatever, then yeah, Kamisado's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, all right? But maybe if you don't have Molt Efficiency, or maybe you just want more overall damage, right? Then consider Kamisado, that's fine. But it's 60% on your next one and requires build up, and then it's just the movement speed. So anyway, so enough yapping. That should be the build right there. Hopefully that explains all of that as well. Now, as for the Archon Shards of the build, this is what I went for. I'm going to be going with 1 casting speeds. Now, ideally, I want to go ahead and just get my abilities off nice and quick, and especially Fusion Strike, which can take a fair bit of time to go ahead and get out. I do want to make sure that I'm just getting abilities done, cycled, and move on to the next pack, all right? That also just goes with any kind of animation in general. I don't think you need more casting speed than this, I won't lie to you. Just 1 Talforged Amber should be good. If you don't have the Talforged Amber, even just 1 normal shard should be all right. But pick and choose. Everyone's going to have different flavors. You know, whatever suits you may not suit someone else. It's okay. But I do like the casting speed. Over here, I do have the maximum energy filled on spawn with the Talforged Amber Archon. Now, I will go and say this and come closer over here. Do keep in mind that you may not need this shard if you're doing endurance runs. And furthermore, if you can just go and hit a pack of enemies with Razor Gyre anyways, or if you nourish into Razor Gyre, you're going to have lots of energy straight off of the rip. So it's not really, really needed. It's a default comfort that I typically take. I know I'm not min-maxed here. I get it. Wow, my goodness, Clark, what are you doing? I don't know. What's wrong with me? So yeah, I should really typically take that one out, but I'm kind of on a time crunch today, so forgive me, all right? That one in the future may be swapped with, and the next 3 going to be down here is the Talforged Crimson Archon Shards for ability strength. So This just gives my overall damage, my multiplier for the lethal progeny to go ahead and get a much higher damage multiplier overall return on those turrets. So they do a tremendous amount of damage, whilst also helping my overall energy returns, whilst also scaling all of that. My regen on shields as well is also going to be scaled. But look at the fire rate, look at the damage at the bottom as well, is also going to be scaled. So there's no harm in putting your crimsons in here as well. Now, if you do want to go ability duration crimsons, or you want some other Archon Shards, they're recommended up on the screen right there. You can take any of these, they do typically work. But I do want to go and talk about one Archon Shard in particular right now, if I can go and have your ears for another minute or so. Violet Archon Shards for ability damage. Now, you see, the Archon Stretch mod works with the Augment, as in when they do electric damage from the Razor Jaya, the Archon Stretch is proccing from the ability damage. Now, what isn't currently working, but this may be subject to change, is day one. There are bugs, all right, is the violet ones for the ability damage do not work with him right now. It's a little bit of a shame. I'm hoping maybe that's an oversight, or it's just a bug, or maybe it was, again, it was supposed to happen, but yeah, issues happen and so forth. You get the idea. Anyways, it doesn't work right now, but if it did work, I would replace these with Violet Archon Shards for ability damage. It's multiplicative to your just overall damage that you're doing here, right? So you got your strength and everything, you got your ability damage, like, it's multiplicative. Take it, all right? It's better than ability strength here, okay? It's better that you'll get more damage overall from what you're doing when you're shooting with your lethal progeny. But as of right now, it doesn't work, okay? So from there onwards, there's not really any weapons that I'm typically using with this. I'm kind of just going pretty quick, so you can take whatever weapon of choice that you want to go ahead and take. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not even using the Nami Solo. This is a full, I'm just going to zoom and go off and do my thing. If you did want to, you can consider using the Grimoire, all right? Now, if you want to use the Grimoire for one of two things, I'd recommend Vomit Invocation for a strength build, or I would recommend Wrist Invocation for a duration build. Either one of these two are going to work very, very well for you. Pick your poison. Which one would you like to go ahead and do? It should go ahead and help, but ideally it's not a necessity. It's just something else you can go and throw in there. Same goes with just overall movement speed. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and just ride on the Kina and just take some of movement speed in the background. They're just passives to go ahead and throw in there, all right? As for your focus score down here, the focus score could be kind of near enough anything at this point, but I just went ahead and run the Madurai. I ran the Madurai for my usual comfort. I go ahead and run it for the sling strength, switch into a Warframe after a chain sling, so that basically means in operator I sling into the ground a couple of times. Then it gives me 40% ability strength for 20 seconds. That's nice. That can help my Nourish, it can help my Razor Jaya, it can help my Lethal Progeny, it can help my Fusion Strike, it can help a lot of different things. So it's just freebie. I take it. Then from there onwards, power transfer as I'm slinging in towards the ground and I'm switching back from my operators with my Warframe. I also get 50% casting speed, which can be nice. You can feel it. So that's just a freebie as well. But ideally, one of the main reasons why I typically sit on Madurai for like end game still path plus kind of content, or EDAs, ETAs, is because if I do happen to go ahead and die, I use Void Strike. The first ability consumes all of the operator energy for a chance for me to go ahead and it was not even a chance. I increase all my damage, my amp damage, up to 100%. In this case, it depends how much energy you consumed for it. And then I pair that with the last gasp that I've got on my weight bounce, which basically just means I go and kill 3 enemies before 15 seconds and I can revive myself. That's basically about it, right? So this is like my kind of go-to default, but it's not something that you're required to go ahead and have, all right? But Sling Strength, Power Transfer, Void Strike with the last gasp, it's too good for a lot of situations where I'm kind of relying on myself to go and get myself back into the fight, and I don't want to have to go and res or re-res myself or whatever and so forth. Now, as for my companions, I'm actually using the Dairigger companion, and I'm only using it for one particular reason, because a lot of things are happening on top of me. As I'm spinning around with Razor Jaya, I'm collecting enemies and then dumping them like literally right in front of me. So therefore, I want a companion that's kind of close to me and attacking or doing things close to me. This is where the Dairigger companion comes in, and this is where Arc Coil comes in. See, this Sentinel will zap enemies up to 7 meters, up to 7 enemies within 10 meters away. It will also go and deal electric damage with a 10% status chance. But what's so important about that is with the manifold combination, it basically says companion precept mods, which are, these are precepts as you can see there. So you see that symbol up there, that's a precept mod. Companion precept mods apply status effects from companion weapons. So that's really good there. That basically means any elements that I have on here, aka all of those elements, are all going to be essentially applied to the enemy, zapped onto the enemy whilst the enemy's right in front of me. So that's a lot of just extra overall. I'm getting magnetics, I can hurt their shields a little bit. I'm getting radiations, not that I typically need it. We're not doing condition overloads, we're not doing any kind of like gun CO scaling or anything like that, but it's still nice to have it. And just some viral as well, so I can go and keep building up the viral whilst my turrets are also doing viral as well, so we're just building it up nice and quick together. But ideally I can also go and get heat, which can also go ahead and lower their armor a little bit if I'm not fusion striking. Keep that in mind. But overall it's just overall dot as well, as you can imagine. All right, so anyways, with those two in combination, that just looks after me. Guardian, basically it means as soon as my shields go down, I get my shields all the way straight back, which is also nice. But the other ones aren't specifically so much related to what I'm doing. I'm not really using Tenacious, I'm not really using Sympathy Construct, so forth. So it's just this, and this, all right? Or I guess that as well towards this. But yeah, that's basically all that's going on with my companion. It's just there as a way to go ahead and deal with things on top of me. So I'm going to show you like a little bit of a live demo of like what's going to be happening right now, and then we're going to go and get into some gameplay. And I appreciate you guys being patient throughout all of this and getting straight to hopefully the point. But let's go and do it on one enemy so you can go and see what it looks like right now. So in terms of rotation, what I would go and do is rotate until I see Orphalus down there. Once I see Orphalus, I'm going to summon them in. So these are the Orphalus. The idea is when they do go and see an enemy, if I go and just summon one in real quick and I walk up here, this is what the Orphalus does. For those who don't know, it will find an area, it will sit down, and it will shoot. And although that is good, although that is nice, you can see how slow that is. You can see the arcing and all of that, and they're not the best of positioning to go ahead and get the most out of it. Look how slow that is, right? Okay, let's go ahead and show you what they can go ahead and do with this augment being included. Now, what I'm going to go and do is I'm going to resummon them. I'm going to give them all viral. I'm now going to go ahead and summon this dude over here. I'm not going to go ahead and armor strip. I'm just going to go and collect them. Dump him right there. Okay, there is currently a bug, but I mean, that alone, that's only just really one because the others are currently bugged behind the steps at the minute. That is currently a bug right now. Okay, that will hopefully be patched. But you can see the damage difference there, right, was significantly better. So again, I've got them over here. I'm going to go and collect this guy, drop him over there, and then he's going to go ahead and shoot. Okay, I really wish these other guys would come over here. I'm so sorry that, like, right now there's a bit of a bug going on. I'm going to summon them at the top and you can go and see it this way. But how about I just do all of these guys so you can see it properly? I'm just going to summon them at the top of the stairs because they're being a little bit janky right now. So I'm going to go and do this. And this is no armor strip. I'm going to do the same thing again, but now I'm going to use my fourth, okay? I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go and use my fourth. Please shoot. Okay, a couple of bugs going on right now. Forgive me on the bugs. Hopefully you see the vision. Okay, forgive me on the bugs. It's day one launch right now. There's going to be a couple of problems. Inside the mission, you'll see some gameplay right now. They're not having that much of a problem inside the mission, but inside the simulacrum, they're having a couple of stinkers right now, so forgive me. But again, hopefully you see the vision of like how we went from very little damage to scaling it all the way up and bringing everything together. So all I need to go and do now is just spam one. It's spam one. It's spam one. It's spam one. Get the idea? It's a spin to win build. Just go and get your buffs applied, and then you could use one, and if you do need it, you can use your four, all right? But that's basically going to be that, so let's go and get some gameplay up on the screen right here. And yeah, overall, first of all, I want to go and say well done to DE, because I've been struggling with Caliban and summonings for a while now. There is a wonderful way that we can go and make summonings a bit more viable, but we are going to need a bit more kind of wiggle room from DE to go and help us out. AI pathing and consciousness the AI intelligence of companions and summonings isn't the best right now. So I'm not really trying to slater it. I'm just trying to go and be honest about it. Sometimes they're a bit dumb in terms of how they act and how they find enemies. Sometimes you'll find that your companion literally just stands still and there's an enemy right next to it and the companion's like, I don't see him. That can be a bit of a problem. So I'm hoping with a bit more kind of quality of life and a bit more TLC over time, we can get AI pathing for companions and especially summoners in a much better spot. So in order to band-aid that right now and fix it, this is where this augment comes in, and it absolutely fixes the issue that I'm currently having with summoning Pathing. So we get some more fire rate. We also get an added element, which is electric, which is great. It synergizes with what we're doing. We're going to slap some viral over there from Nourish. We can go and look after our heat, our energy as well, and Razor Jar with Nourish. Just a lot, very effortless build, lots of returns, you know, lots of easy to apply synergy, and that's what I'm all here for. All right, that's what I'm all here for. Now, when it comes towards acolytes or particular Xmas units, so Xmas units, as long as they've got the overguard on them, you cannot scoop them up. So my advice is I would spin around until I kind of finish and land on the Xmas, and then hopefully they're just within the turret range for my Orpheless to go ahead and shoot them. As for acolytes, it just depends on the acolyte. More annoying ones are Augment, because he can go ahead and do the tidal wave and just move away from all of your Orpheless shots, which is really frustrating. Or the other one's going to be Violence, where he just kind of nullifies you and you can't spin or do anything. You just got to wait for your Orpheless to hopefully shoot him. My advice for the acolytes would be just shoot them. All right, get rid of them, kill them if you need to. That's why a melee weapon or a secondary weapon or a primary weapon, whatever your weapon of choice is, just get rid of the acolytes yourself and then carry on with everyone else at your own accord. All right. Now, in terms of like EDAs and ETAs, you will need a couple of changes and fixes here and there, but it's really going to depend on what the affixes are. All right, so I'm not going to go through every single affix, but for the most part, it should still hold up inside EDAs and ETAs. It's got the damage to, it's got the survivability, the utility, it's got a lot of things going for it. It's an all over, all well, pretty effortless, well-rounded build. That's my 2 cents. So I'm going to go bring you guys back over here, and I want to go and thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I feel like I did. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you did go and like it, please go and leave a like on the video. If you think there's a friend or a clan member, significant other, your neighbor's dog walker who might enjoy this video, please go share the video with them as well. But as always, if you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you guys again inside the next video. Take it easy, everyone. Bye.